Well, at Hatfield, we're celebrating 2 Elizabethan ages with some of the best singers you can find, and one of the most inventive of choral maestri you would ever find on the planet, Suzi Digby. I cannot begin to pin you down. You're not just a choral director, you commission works, you enthuse, you have enlivened the choral repertoire. So, I mean, you have contributed hugely to the second Elizabethan age when it comes to voices.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And yes, I feel that we're in an age now where there's an imperative to commission new choral work. We really are in a new golden age of small-scale choral compositions, the likes of which we haven't really seen since the Renaissance. Hence, I've commissioned over the first 5 years 50 and recorded 50 new works from 50 composers, each reflecting a masterwork from the Renaissance.
Well, those masterworks are extraordinary, and I because I was listening recently, and we played the day of Her Majesty's funeral, when music just needed to be so appropriate for listeners, was Vidi Aquam, James Macmillan's response to Tallis's great 40-part motet Speminalium, which I said was a really cheeky thing to do, taking on a master tapestry like that, commissioned by you. And that was, I mean, it stands alone as a monument to our time.
I think so. I mean, I am, the more I climb into that work of James Macmillan, the more I appreciate its greatness. I think it, from my point of view, I think it's the greatest a cappella choral work of our time. And it happened, you know, we premiered it at Tate Modern in the heart of lockdown. 75,000 people came on live stream to witness it, to watch it. And I think there was something about the timing of the piece as well, which gave it a very special aura.
Yeah,
it's a magnificent piece. Absolutely.
It is a magnificent piece. I mean, as I say, it stands beside Tallis is breathtaking. It is a breathtaking achievement in itself. But do you when you were celebrating these 2 ages at Hatfield, I know you changed the program to reflect Her late Majesty, who was an extraordinary figure by any means. How did you choose who was going to be most appropriate to, as it were, sit beside Byrd and Tallis and the like from Elizabeth I?
Well, what we've done is we've taken a selection of our reflected commissions over the years to give a good sacred and secular representation of the choral music under Elizabeth I and the choral music under Elizabeth II. So very early on in Aura's short life, actually at our launch concert, we had commissioned Byrd's great 5-part mass, each movement of which we commissioned a composer to reflect. And so we are featuring that in the matinee concert at Hatfield House, some movements from that. So the original Byrd movement followed by the reflection. We have some wonderful contemporaneous madrigals extolling the virtues of Queen Elizabeth I, as was the fashion.
Indeed. Well, I mean, she was fair Orianna. I mean, she may have been beneficent. I mean, Byrd and Tallis could have been on shaky ground, particularly Byrd as a recusant Catholic, but was very definitely protected by Elizabeth I. But on the other hand, everybody joined together to sing, you know, "Long live fair Orianna." So they knew what to do.
They did, and they stayed. I mean, particularly Byrd, who was on precarious territory because he really was the house composer for the requisite Catholic, and passionately. Tallis, I think, was more. He was able to negotiate the ebbs and flows of Catholicism and Protestantism more easily, but Byrd was precarious. But you know, we have this wonderful repertoire, and we've also included in it Roddy Williams' reflection on Ave Verum Corpus by Byrd, which is one of the real gems of the Renaissance.
Absolutely, and Roddy has got a marvelous feel as a singer. He has got an innate sense of what's right for the voice. I mean, he really is a natural.
it's been one of our most successful commissions in that it's taken off virally around the world.
Yeah.
Other choirs. It's one of our big successes. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece, absolutely stunning.
Well, the singers embrace just about everything. Your enthusiasm transmits like electricity through them all, organic electricity, and done on the right in the right way. Hatfield could not be more appropriate in a way because of the links with the Cecil going back to Elizabeth I, the great rainbow portrait of Elizabeth I looking over us, and letters I think which I've seen in the archive, I mean, from a nervous Tallis, for instance, to the Cecil of the day saying, "I am loyal to Her Majesty." So it's wonderful when all these things come together.
It's extraordinary, and the whole day. This is next Sunday, the 2nd of October, has been a confluence of serendipitous events. The matinee concert will be followed by an evening concert where we are launching our new series of commissions, one of which is the very first new commission, which is a cultural bridge between our choral tradition and the music tradition of India, and it happens to fall on Gandhi Day. So a number of things have come together. But going back to the matinee concert, our To Elizabeth's concert, when the Queen died, a couple of days later, I read in the newspaper the Poet Laureate's tribute to the Queen that he wrote. And it's an acrostic poem called Floral Tribute. So the first letter of each line spells Elizabeth, and that happens twice. So To Elizabeth's. The Z's posed him some deep thought, but he's negotiated that incredibly well. And it is a beautiful and lyrical poem. And my immediate thought was, let's get that set to music if we possibly can, in time for the Hatfield House matinee concert. Now this posed a few problems, as you can imagine. First of all, I had to identify a composer who could write fast enough and reliably, because some composers write very, very fast without revisions, such as Mozart. Other composers, equally great, take a long time to compose. So I needed someone who's sort of tried and tested, who could do this for me in 10 days flat. So
that's quite something. Like some of the great composers, after all, think of Beethoven, the ink's still dry. Think of Mozart, last minute.
Yes, exactly. And so one such composer, in fact, probably the only composer I know who I could really trust to do this and deliver, is Toby Young, who's based in Oxford. And he's done stuff for me over the years, many, many years. So the first thing I did was contact him and say, look, are you up for this? Can you do it in 10 days flat? Yeah. 4 oral singers for the second. He said, I've already started sketching. He was very keen. So the next thing was to get hold of the Poet Laureate and get his permission to have his words set to music. And I very fortunately, because by then we were the first day of the lying in state, so everybody was rather busy that day. And I managed through a mutual friend to get hold of Simon Armitage, and he gave us permission. So,
absolutely wonderful.
So this is being premiered at Hatfield next Sunday.
This is just one of the many excitements, and excitement is the right word for it. You know, your performances and your singers are always so inspirational. I mean, it's going to be absolutely wonderful at Hatfield. Be there, be part of the energy as we move into a Carolean age and your new commission start. Suzi, thank you very much indeed for being with us. I'll see you with Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth I, looking down on both of us.
Thank you very much, Sean.